Are you ready? Yeah, go ahead. We are going to start our open session, so at this point I need a motion for approval of the agenda, please.
So,
All in favor? Thank you. I need a motion for approval of the consent agenda items. All in favor? Thank you. Communications.
There are no board communications for this meeting.
And
No public comments.
no public comment. Okay. Next up is our finance report.
good evening.
Just a quick update from the finance department. The finance department is wrapping up the end of fiscal year projects and preparing for the ASBR submission that is due in August. The finance department is also starting the preparations for the FY23 audit that's scheduled to be conducted on August 30th and the 31st. Audit confirmations have been completed and sent to the auditor for distribution. Board members should expect to receive their letter in the next couple of weeks. 2022 bond update. As of the end of June, we have spent $3,643,826.50 on completed and paid invoices. That leaves us with a current balance of $3,589,741.95. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, superintendent's report.
Yeah, a couple things that I want to touch on. Summer school wrapped up June 29th for Macquarie Upper Middle School and high school students that were seated. And then some of the virtual classes. We do still have 42 high school students who are participating in virtual classes this month. We'll get that finished up at the end of July. Mr. Armstrong said had a very good summer school. 65 pre-K students, so always good to get them in and give them an early start and kind of get them acclimated to what they're getting ready to start on, embark on. And then Dr. Fagan's going to update you on summer maintenance and cleaning.
So as everybody knows, a lot of stuff going on, so that has put a twist on summer custodial cleaning this year, but the buildings are in good shape time-wise as far as looking into August. Looks like everything should be wrapped up. We might have a little bit into August with, with waxing some of the new areas and some of the new tile and some of those office type areas, but everything's looking pretty good, pretty good shape.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. Okay, discussion items, our construction update.
Pat Costas here.
Good evening. So I assumed you walked before, so you saw what's going on. Construction's coming along very nicely. Most of the walls are up and framed, drywall on those. I have a schedule I'd like to just walk through to kind of forecast the next 3 weeks. So kind of the spaces have taken shape now. So our next step, the high school, they're going to start working on painting the walls and putting in the casework. That's the cabinets, reception desk. Most of those items are sitting right out there in the commons. So they'll be working on installing those this week, probably a little through next. And then they'll work on putting the ceiling grid in, and then putting light fixtures and mechanical diffusers like those in, and then the ceiling tile. And then towards the end of July, they'll come back in and kind of put the finishing touches, the floors, the doors, any other finishes. And then next week they'll be putting in at the new vestibule at the high school, there's some outside aluminum glass windows. They'll be putting those in. And then at the middle school, it's on a similar track. All the walls are up, so they're mudding those, taping those right now in prep for painting later this week and putting in the casework through next week. And then in the next week into 3 weeks from now, ceiling grid, lights, mechanical diffusers, The flooring, there is more extensive flooring replacement at the middle school, specifically through the southwest wing. And most of that is almost complete. As they do completely finish that, we'll be reviewing that and doing a punch list so that you all can start moving into that ahead of time before the rest of it. So the teachers can start moving in. Doors 3 weeks from now at the middle school, and then there's a few windows that need to go in at the middle school too. And then elementary school, a couple weeks from now, they'll be working on, I think they already are doing a little mudding and taping, I saw today, but painting, that'll come 2 to 3 weeks from now. Then the ceiling and the final finishing touches on the query. And then the site, there's a few more sidewalks that need to be poured and some curbs. So that'll happen over the next couple weeks, and then asphalt will be the final touch, and that'll happen in about 4 days. So it'll go from gravel to you have your final parking lot very quickly. And honestly, that'll be the story for a lot of these. The last couple weeks, those finishes, the paint will go on, the flooring, some graphics, and it'll come to life in those last couple weeks. So that is the schedule as of this morning. We had a meeting with Excel and the district this morning, so that's as of today. That's what the next weeks look like.
Is everything, you think we're gonna make it, or is there gonna be any bumps in the road?
I think we're gonna make it just fine. Excel's doing a fantastic job of keeping up with all the subcontractors, letting them know schedule's king, get out here, finish up the job. It'll get finished up.
I'm hoping, I don't think the Catholic Church will hold all the parking.
They got a big grass space.
Is there striping? They contracted to do striping on the parking lots as well.
Yeah, that'll be the, you gotta finish.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, I look forward to next month. See y'all.
Okay, next up is develop 2023-24 Board of Education goals.
Yeah, annually the board reviews goals and identifies any changes for the upcoming year. The one item last year that was identified was continue to use staff and stakeholder data to maintain a quality educational environment. The board can modify, remove, and or add any goals for any focus areas, and any changes that need to be made and submitted for formal approval could be done as early as next month.
Will we still get to read the surveys and things that?
Yeah, we will get that out to you.
Okay.
That was something I forgot all about. Dr. Faye and I were just talking about that. So we'll get that sent out to you probably this week.
That to me will be helpful in knowing what anybody needs from us or.
And because I haven't given that to you, we need to push this back to another month and have some more discussion next month. That'd be completely acceptable.
Which survey are you referring
So
We do a staff survey.
to? The one in the spring?
Yeah, I think that would probably be a good idea to give us time to go over that. Yeah.
Previous goal was maintaining a positive environment. So we have none of those results.
Yeah.
So I say we can
We'll get that sent out this week
call it quits on that.
for sure.
Okay, any other questions? Goals at this point? Okay, next up is our graduation site consideration.
Good high school counselors.
Come on down.
This conversation came up at the end of, or beginning of graduation services this year, so Mr. Young graciously asked, what can I do to assist you? So we opened the floor with consider looking at moving graduation services back to UCM. We've been very fortunate,
unfortunate situation with COVID, and we had to pivot and have our services here. It actually turned out wonderful, which then sparked the school board to, decide to continue to hold the services here on our campus. And we've been very fortunate for for 3 services to be able to have them without any, hiccups of weather and things like that. And unfortunately, this year was the year that we had to make one adjustment and postpone and go to our first backup date, which is just originally we're on Thursday night. Our first backup date is that Friday, and so this year, due to weather, we had to pivot and move to that next date. And the hard part with our services being here is just our facilities. We don't have a backup option inside. So we have to do an alternate date, which is very difficult for a lot of our families to, have their plans where they're coming in on, if they've got out of state guests or anything coming in, maybe that Wednesday and then having to stay a little longer. Or even we had a student who was concerned she wasn't going to be able to attend when we moved to Friday because of her work schedule. And so just that adjustment is kind of difficult, and not having an indoor facility, to be that ease to keep it on the same night, it can be difficult. Luckily, we only had to pivot one day, but our second backup date is Sunday in the afternoon, which does sometimes happen to fall on Mother's Day. But it's already a very stressful event to put on, and then when you add in having to make those last minute decisions, because you can't make a decision at 9 a.m. what the weather's going to be like that night, and we kept holding out and just hoping we'd be able to have it, but at the last minute, at some point you have to make a call, because the other piece to the setup is there's no maintenance crew that does all of that. We are the maintenance crew. We're very fortunate to have wonderful teachers who will come out and help. Even our superintendent, assistant superintendent happened to walk out to the field at the right time to help us set up all the chairs. And so it's not a super quick process to set up, and so there does have to be a timeline to cut off. And so we just ask that you consider, because looking back at UCM, because I remember several ceremonies that we've had at UCM where I'm hauling in stuff and pouring down rain and just trying to keep everything covered to get it in the building, but we had a nice air-conditioned facility that was available to us, and we didn't have to move or change the dates, and it worked well with Project Grad being on that night, because they have to book that. They've already booked it for the following year, because those facilities fill up quick, so that has to happen Thursday night regardless. So our kids this year attended Project Grad on Thursday night, and then finished that in the morning on Friday, and then attended graduation Friday night. So
Where do they have Project Grad at?
I want to say Power Play. I have no idea where it is.
So you guys would recommend we keep it all at UCM?
They bounced around to different areas. They used to always have it at, there was a place that they used to do it at, the multi-building, or somewhere there in Warrensburg they used to have it. But they've done Power Play, they've done Paradise Park when that was open. Main event, yep. So they've done different facilities. We don't do anything with that decision, just whatever Project Grad wants at that time, but.
So Ashley, if we sit around and discuss this, if the decision come down to move it, how much time do you all have, like say for next year, for the date that we need? Is it available even?
I don't know. I would have to reach out to UCM. I did when we left, because I really did not want to not be there. They just said they really enjoyed the partnership that they had with us, and that they would always do their best to keep that open for them. With us being on a Thursday night, that's not usually that's what we used to be, a Friday night, and we had to move to Thursday because one year it lined up with their graduation services, and then we moved to Thursday and realized that wasn't bad, and decided we didn't want to have any conflicts, and we went with the Thursday. So I would have to check into that to see.
Okay.
I do think if we decide to keep it here, that we could probably afford to outsource the setup. I mean, if we were paying at one point to have it at UCM and we're hosting it here for free now, I don't think there's any reason that you guys should be out there setting up
They
the
have
chairs.
people that do that.
I don't know, we could look around the logistics of that, because scheduling them, like this year, if we were to schedule
Yeah.
somebody to be here on that Thursday,
Yeah.
and then we pulled the plug, and then they were busy on that Friday doing something somewhere else. Cause we closed at probably 1:00 when I made that call,
Yeah.
somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
So
To know.
that would be the only thing.
And we can't do things the night before because we have a soccer game the night before because it's a soccer facility, and then we had to tear down this year right afterwards in graduation gowns and everything because we had district track the next day because that's what that facility is, and we understand it is a beautiful ceremony. It is very nostalgic for several of our students to, especially those that play on that field to have that moment and finish there. And some of, granted it's a new field, but some of their parents and stuff may have graduated, on that very same space as well. So, I think for us, it's a great view. I'm not sure about how much in the bleachers, what that view looks like, for parents, I'm not quite sure, or what the sound looks like. Whereas UCM, they have the video board up top, and, it is a little bit, but sound projects a little bit better in there. But so it is a beautiful venue, and we do understand the nostalgia there. It's just the logistics of it and the concern for now we've had a taste of what it's like when you have to change the date. I did joke with Dr. Oettinger, I would happily take a brand new gymnasium with enough space to be an indoor facility. I would be happy to set chairs up forever.
Maybe just a dome.
Yeah. You can pick up that rolling dome thing that they were gonna do a few years ago. So.
We'll have some discussion and try as soon as we can to at least. let
And
you
I
guys
don't know what the best I don't know.
I
I
don't
think
know either.
1999 was the first class to graduate at UCM. So I was a high school senior myself at that point. So I don't know what that decision looked like when they decided to move it from here to that facility. So I don't know what the best process, how to get a pulse on how everybody else feels about it.
I think if you guys feel that it's a good move, and the student body feels that I would support whatever you guys think is best for the kids.
I don't think as a district we've ever had a bad situation or anything down there.
No, their staff has always been great to work with, and they're red and black, so the colors, it all works well for the aesthetic.
Yeah.
That was always my biggest reservation, was just the driving.
The drive.
Kids
Yep.
driving to
Yep.
Warrensburg without their parents.
So the kids, they go down with their families or they go down and they come back, but they actually get on the bus here
Correct.
later that night.
Yep.
for-
Yep, we finish, and then they get on the bus here usually between 9:30 and 10. So after graduation, they kind of pack up and head back. And
If the
Okay.
decision was made and we were worried about transportation or kids, we could always try to work busing out from here to the graduation
Yeah.
and back. Okay.
And
I'm
I
just
wasn't
thinking
even
out
aware that you guys were the ones that set it up, and so thank you.
hey, if it happens
Good
here
job.
next year, if it's gonna, we will send an open invitation. You guys are more than welcome.
Right.
Yes.
I am so
Yeah.
sorry that
Yeah.
happened.
Well, it's just, because we're in session, so you're setting up during the school day, and so we do utilize some student assistance, but we are very particular about how things are. I am, and so we
A lot of measuring
a lot of
tactics
measuring.
we use.
Yes, so.
Thank you.
It always
It
looks
always
great.
looks
so
nice.
you
Yeah.
just do.
The first year was a little rough, but after that, a few aerial shots, I was like, ooh, we gotta do better. But yeah, so yeah, it's a lot of work and stuff that goes into it, and there's a lot of just little things that have to be set. So, but whenever you're sweating, trying to line things up, you can be a little frazzled. So
I'm with Jess there, or Kelsey, whichever one you guys said, but
and but like Dr. O said, you have to have somebody who be available Thursday, Friday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but we appreciate you guys even considering it, and you know, whatever the process looks like going forward, and whatever decision is made, we will always do whatever we can to put on a beautiful event for our students. So.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you presenting to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, up next is the Bulldog Stadium Field Maintenance Report.
So we had them out to make sure it was in good shape for graduation next year.
It's not, so I need to check.
So in your packet, there's a report from Midwest Synthetic Turf, came out, did annual maintenance, so they basically have a machine that pulls up all the rubber, cleans all the debris out, pulls any loose fibers, and puts the rubber back in. After that process, they also spray it with a sanitizer, so it's good and clean, ready to go. Did find several loose seams. All of those have been repaired. You know, whether it be a little seam somewhere, like the corner kicks are a bad spot that get level on infill and torn up, but all of those have been repaired. The infill is all back to the right level. It's been sanitized. He did note that there's some fading, which is going to happen with carpet in the sunshine, especially with the reds, tend to fade more. And then also, one of the pictures, you see the fibers, so there's quite a few loose fibers, especially for its age. There was more loose fibers than he expected, but we'll keep an eye on that, and he'll be back probably. This is an annual thing that we'll look at getting done, so he can kind of assess that each year as we go through and let us know how it's going. So just good process, and it's ready to go.
So we haven't done this since we've had the new field?
I think we had done it once that first summer, after it was done in the second summer,
Okay.
but it'll be a more regular item though.
So you said we're gonna do this every year now?
Is there something that he attributed to the fibers or the seams that we
No, I
weren't
mean, there's various things. I mean, turf, there's one guy like, it's one guy likes Ford, one guy likes Chevy, and, there's different companies. But so the manufacturing could be part of it, as far as that, the seams, some of that can be manufacturing, some could be installation. Some is just normal wear and tear, especially, if it gets used. We've talked with our coaches about, like football, you go out and you practice from between the hash marks from the 10 to the 30, well, move around, to make sure you're using more spaces. The north end was obviously a little more of that than the south, because you come out for PE class and that's where you are, so that's what you use. So just being a little more aware of that, moving forward too, and move around and use it all.
How long do we have before we have to talk about replacing the turf?
It all depends on the amount of use it gets. I mean, when they installed it, they basically say, kind of in the 10-year ballpark is where you look to get out of it. And we're at 6, 7, something like that. So something we think about.
Have we ever done this to the baseball field?
No, the baseball field is a whole different discussion, because it's got a lot of, it's past that 10-year lifespan. And some of the high use areas on it, we've patched, and we've been able to do that, and that's a lot more common with baseball on the mound, the batters boxes, and around first base, and some of those, but that's something that we've looked at with him too, about the best solution for it moving forward on whether to keep repairing certain areas, or what replacement looks like, or what that might cost.
I just wanna make sure we're maintaining everything, especially with all of the new stuff that we're doing, and we're not
Right.
putting it in new and then not doing the upkeep. So.
Because baseball is infield turf, outfield grass, right?
Correct.
Is district do they do things to upkeep the outfield, like with the grass, and is that on us? Or-
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah, we do all of that, so. And it's in good shape, even the outfield too. We've done some drainage work in the last couple of years just to get the water off. But it gets a lot of use, our baseball does, because there's more turf fields now, but over the last 10 years, it's kind of the turf field in the area, especially schools east of us that call, and if they're rained out, they come here and use our field. So baseball gets a lot of use compared to a lot of other baseball fields.
Right, makes sense to put it on the same cycle. If it's the same, I think they're out of Monroe where you go. They gotta go down here.
Yeah, with the Midwest. And they do a lot of field work, a lot of field installs, and they're very reputable companies.
They give you a timeline, kind of what they thought we get out of this, out of the
We didn't really get
football
into
field. They
details
just
on
look
that.
at it and say, well, you probably got another 4 years or 5 years.
Okay, any other questions for Roger right now? Summer or the Bulldogs Stadium field maintenance? Okay. Next up is our action items. First up is arbiter sports pay.
CAF, shared action.
Welcome, Sherry.
Hello,
How
nice
are
to see
you?
you guys for the first time. Included in your board packet is a proposal for the district to contract with Arbiter Sports Pay. This service would allow the district to streamline payments for athletic officials, starting for the 23-24 school year. The proposed quote and contract is for 3 years of service. Included in the costs are implementation, setup fees, and training. And we ask that the board approve the contract as presented.
This would be as middle school and high school officials for activities.
Any questions?
If you guys are recommending it, then that's all I need to know.
It would save a lot of time for the ladies in the central office and for the athletic department, just that officials don't show up or they replace somebody at the last minute, we have to, the amount of POs that the ladies have to do and voided checks and just the amount of time, I think that, and most schools are using the Arbiter Pay. I've been on the official side of it and it's just so much easy to go in and make a click of different officials coming that day. And all the year-end reports are done automatically for them, and that just saves some man hours, I think, or woman hours. But anyway, I just think that it would be a really efficient program, and a lot of schools are doing that now.
Have you used it?
Yes.
And I've done it on the accounting side before too.
It's great.
Any other questions? At this point, I need a motion to accept the contract for the arbiter sports pay.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is the 2023-24 employee manual.
Yeah, the manual's been updated from the previous manual, and it also aligns with the new board policies that we have in place. It's presented to you for approval.
With any questions on the new employee manual handbook? If not, I need a motion.
Make a motion to approve the employee manual as presented. Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Next up, we have the 2023-24 high school student parent handbook.
Yeah, this handbook, similar to the employee manual, has been updated to align with the change in policies as well as the previous handbook. I will point out that in the past at the high school, we had 2 separate handbooks, one for the school, one for activities. They have been combined in this handbook, so it'll just be one handbook. And I present it to you for board approval as well.
Is this effective immediately?
For this school year, yes.
Is there a, if we took second notes or whatever, can there some modifications to it we need to make next meeting? Would there be an opportunity to do that?
Yes, I would wanna make sure we give everybody the opportunity to review those changes. Sure.
That being said, Could I have a motion to accept the 2023-24 high school student parent handbook?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Next, we have change order number 11 with XL Contractors.
Okay.
So this change order is for the tile in the OHS Commons that we've been working on with the new office and the new look out there. This would replace, demo all of the tan tile and replace with fresh tiles, Odessa design floor. So, total amount for this change order $30,353. That includes demo and replacement of the floor.
Is that the same design that you had less one that you were talking
It's
about?
the one.
It's in there. It's a little less.
Oh, yeah, okay. So
It's a little less because of cost. All the turn and twist and the other design were made it pricey.
Okay.
This is the middle option of.
They'll be able to finish this before school, right?
That's their goal as well, yes.
It's gonna extend, that schedule he just showed, it's gonna extend that time.
It won't be done by August 1st, but it still should be done.
There shouldn't be any trouble with, by the time school starts. Freshman orientation might have to come in a different door, but it'll be worth it in the end.
There's a lot of dancing going on right now.
The other option is we review this with a blend of old and new on the floor. Which we could replace, the idea would we have to replace the old anyways.
Was
It'll
that,
last a long time.
Yeah.
It just, you're gonna spend more to mobilize them at a later date because they're already here on site.
I guess is there a reason why it wasn't included in with the initial project? Is it just kind of a general oversight and next time we'll know better and, okay. Cause it makes sense that we would do this with all of the, but next time maybe it can all be in one.
Yep.
No, hey,
I think it looks good. I mean,
It's gonna look
I like, actually like that design better than the last one.
I don't, there's no reason to piecemeal that.
Yeah.
Rather than walk in.
We're doing
Okay.
it, we might as well do it.
Yes. Need a motion.
I make a motion to approve change order 11.
All in favor? Thank you. Okay, next we have the 2023-24 breakfast and lunch prices.
Okay.
Every year we use the paid lunch equity tool put out by DESE and USDA. So this year there was an exemption available to schools with a positive balance in their food service account, which we do have as of June 30. So we're able to offer, we do not have to raise lunch prices this year. So the recommendation will be to leave lunch prices the same as they were from last year. So $1.50 for student breakfast, $2.15 for adult breakfast, elementary lunches at $2.10, middle school and high school at $2.20, and adult lunches at $2.95. Which is the same price for this school.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the 2023-24 meal prices.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Next up, we have the student, state, and national competition expenses.
Kat's here to talk about that one, Jen.
Included in your board packet is the student, state, and national competition expenses. Last month, we presented to the board, the district paying for registration, lodging, travel, and meals for students qualifying competition events. The finance office will track those costs for lodging, for the 23-24 school year and update the board next summer on those findings. And we ask the board approve the process as presented.
anybody have any questions for Kat at this point? If not, I need a motion to approve the district covering cost for activities student qualify and compete for district, state, or national competitions. All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next is our 2023-24 career ladder plan.
Ms. Williams, Dr. McLean.
Hello. So, Dr. McLean gave you, or sent out the proposed plan for next year for the career ladder. First, I wanna, just say how much we appreciated the career ladder for last year. We had just so many great programs directly involved with students, and then some professional development that we really loved. As a committee, we worked really hard. Dr. McLean approving timesheets and stuff like that. I can't even imagine how many he had to approve. It was just a really, 11,000, I think it was 11,000. So it was just a really exciting program to see what people came up with to share with our students. And we tweaked some processes, so we made some changes to our proposal for this year. For example, we're going to require a 45% student contact element. So if you're going for that level 3, at least 45% of your hours have to be direct student contact. We thought that fit better with the goals of Career Ladder, which, you know, is student involvement and making differences in the students' lives, which, you know, the other items do that, but I just thought we thought that was a really good way to implement that. And a lot of other school districts that we looked at, they did that as well.
It aligns with the districts.
What's that?
I think that aligns with the districts.
Yes, for sure.
It really supported some of the things in our CSIP,
Mhm.
and so that's what a CSIP should do, is it kind of is an ever-evolving piece, and so the CSIP's developed, it is an impactful tool to use to make updates to a program like this. And I wanna just say thank you as a district, because we have teachers
All of
like
us.
these three here,
All of us. All
who
four of
would
us.
do anything at a moment's notice for a kid, whether they're on contract or not, and would come up here and work with their government kids because it's important to her that they do well on an EOC. And this is a way to compensate them for that time outside of contract time. So just thank you for your commitment to it, because not every district in the state did it.
For sure.
I thought it was great, like, fifth grader, so her and her friends talked about, are you gonna be this fun, this one?
Yes.
I'm
It was-
glad to hear and know they were getting compensated for that.
There was some, you know, really excellent programs that were happening. When I came to the last board meeting and they were doing the math games, and I mean, that's just awesome for the kids. So, and for the teachers.
Yes.
All of us here participated, so. Yeah.
So, Dave, the backlogging of hours,
Yes, sir.
I guess my question is this something that we ought to be adopting before July? Or what, give me an example.
The law allows things that happen in July that fit our plan to count as hours. However, the teachers don't come back till August, and we give them an August 31st deadline to apply.
Gotcha.
So if there were things that are eligible as outlined in the plan that they did in July, for example, they have an approved PD they're doing in Colorado that they're gonna come back and present on, she can backlog those July hours. As the school year progresses and gets intense, we still have to hold these teachers to this. You turn in your time card for the month you did the activity, because otherwise there's real inefficiency and even maybe some potential for abuse. So if somebody is in March trying to turn in a time card from something they did in September, it truly needs to be done like you would for working gate duty. You turn in your time card so you can get paid. And so that's part of this as we move forward from August. You turn in your time card every single month, because DESE comes back to us way before the end of the year and wants to know what's your status, because they're on the hook for 60% of it. So we have to give them most up-to-date status of where the teachers are. And most teachers were fantastic, but some teachers were not so good at turning in time cards. So the PDC group said, this needs to be the stipulation. Turn those in on time if you want this opportunity, because it's a great opportunity.
And that also allows us to track it ourselves, you know, like a lot more efficiently. Because it's like, where am I with my hours? Well, you run a report and, you know, where we put in our time and you see it. You're not, you know, questioning yourself about how many hours you're gonna get. It'll be a lot better.
Do we have access to, the applications that the teachers are submitting at the end of August for their projects that they're proposing?
The projects last year they came up with new ideas that the group approved. This year they're kind of locked in. It's like that baseline year. So they're all in the handbook, the activities that are eligible. They would submit a plan in August that says, I plan for X amount of hours to be this activity, this amount of hours for that activity. So at the end of August, I would have that plan that the board could review to see. And it's going to be different for teachers because they were coming up with ideas. Now these are the ones that align to our district initiatives. And so pick those. Excel tutoring after school, working with students, versus coming up with a brand new thing. If it is a brand new thing that we feel impacts our CSIP, then we as administration can approve that new activity or idea.
I'm excited to see who applies and how many people engage with it.
It was a great mix of enrichment techniques and like tutoring. Both my boys benefited from both sides of it, so it was fantastic.
Thank you all for the support.
Thank you.
Any other questions? At this point, I need a motion to approve the 2023-24 career ladder plan as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
Okay, next up are marching band uniforms.
Yeah, I've asked Mr. Whitman to bring the uniform that we're proposing for approval to purchase, new marching band uniforms. Current uniforms require a lot of upkeep and maintenance. They're over 20 years old. New uniforms would be ordered, but wouldn't be delivered until spring or summer of 24, is that right?
Correct.
So we wouldn't have them for next marching season, but the season after that. Will say that the boosters have offered to cover $10,000 of the cost, so that would bring the cost to $37,200 for the district. So and he's got a uniform that he'd be happy to display.
Yeah.
Well, they don't fit. That's the high school way.
Oh, boy.
It's nice.
So one thing to note on this is that this design is not final. The main thing we were wanting to present and show you was just kind of the make material that's used. They say lifespan on uniforms you want to aim for between 7 to 10 years. We have had our current uniforms for 11 years, and then the school we bought them from had them for 10 years prior to that. So with these, we felt that between 3 companies that put bids in, has solid construction while also meeting that budget that we wanted to stick to.
So how long has it been since we bought uniforms?
10 or 11 years, and we
11
bought them
years.
used. So they
And-
were 10
and-
years old then.
I would say that we are on a rotation for the rest of our extracurricular activities, probably every 3 or 4
Every
years?
4 years.
Every 4 years. So I would say this price is not too much out of line
No.
since we haven't bought you guys uniforms in 10 or 11 years.
Yeah. No, this is it's appropriate, and band uniforms are, there's more to them than what you typically buy in a volleyball uniform or cross country or track or anything like that. So the cost is elevated, but they also last longer as well too.
So is that like a breathable?
Yeah. Compared to the uniforms that we have now, it's a lot more breathable. They're a lot lighter as well. So they'll have also the sweat guard inner lining.
So what was the process with the design?
So we reach out to them, and each of the companies all have design artists on staff. We put out, they usually start with, what's your mascot, what are your school colors, and then they push something to that effect, and then we work with them directly. Hey, change this, hey, change that. can you add this, can you take that off? And all of the designs that we would work with them on are actually just screen printed on here. So the uniform itself won't really change, but we can really put anything on it.
Do you have any plans for the old uniforms?
We are exploring some other options. I know that Derek's talked about some things. Other schools in the past have used them, sold them intact, either on a whole to other places, but with how old these uniforms are, probably a little past that. I know that some ideas that have been floated around, there are some schools that have had them turned into pillows, sold to students as just kind of memorabilia. So there would be some options to explore with the old uniforms.
Was there any difference in, this is FJM, right? Was there any difference in the other two?
It all just comes down to the materials that are made. So Stanberry, the highest bidding on there, definitely had the most robust uniform, but at reflecting the price. And then jumping past FJM down to the Mullen, there were the sample that they sent us was misprinted, and there were some stitches that were already gray just on the samples that they sent us, so that really scared us in terms of reliability.
Okay. So the Stanberry, you said, I mean, as far as material goes and quality might be a little bit better, so.
A lot of the buckles and things are a little bit more robust. On the FJM here, we've got the plastic zipper. Stanberry is going to stick to more robust metal zippers. So just kind of quality of life things like that that do extend the life, but also again reflect in that price.
Thank you for bringing this to our attention. That
Yeah.
you guys need these. I didn't realize that they were sold.
How was it 50, or how many uniforms?
Hundred.
I think we're now in rotation, something like.
Yeah, definitely in all of our other activities, they are on a rotation basis.
Yeah.
And this is one that's now definitely on our radar, so keep an eye on it.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. If not, I need a motion to approve the purchase of the OHS marching band uniforms from FJM as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Okay, next up we have the kitchen equipment purchase.
We recently solicited bids for dishwasher and range, and you'll see the various company vendors there, and then the brand of each of those that they offer, and the price as well as possible installation price. So the varying companies, working with Mike and working with them, feel like the best dishwasher will be the Hobart from Trimark at $37,373, and then the South Bend range from Index Restaurant Supply at $2,730. So knowing the quality and reliability of those products as well as the availability of parts, and they match with other things we have in the district, I feel like those are the two best bids for our needs.
If we have them installed in-house, does that affect any warranty that comes with the equipment?
I don't believe so. He didn't mention that, and I know he talked with all of them about install or not install, so I don't think that was. I'll check with him to make sure.
Okay.
That's a consideration.
Finances, or we just, how are we paying for the budget?
Well, we've got, food service funds that we need to spend down anyway, so what we've got in reserve, food service funds, where this money will pay for these purchases come from. And we budgeted for these purchases in the budget that was approved last month.
Any other questions? At this point, could I have a motion to purchase the Hobart dishwasher from Trimark at $37,373 and the South Bend range from Index Restaurant Supply? All in favor? Thank you. up, we have the maintenance equipment purchase.
All right, next we have, we're in need of purchasing an additional carpet cleaner. We currently have one, wet carpet cleaner that we pass around to the buildings in the summertime to get the libraries and office areas. This particular machine is a dry extractor, that lends itself better to using it during the day or on a weekend, or if you've got an area in a library or an office that needs attention then, it eliminates dry time. So it is a better product as far as our use, as well as we need to have two to pass around between the buildings instead of just the one. We've done it to a bind several times throughout the year where we do one place and it's another, so it's just gonna be life more efficient for the custodial staff in the buildings. You can see the three prices there. Hilliard was the best price, $5,054.15.
Any discussion? Not, I need a motion to purchase a carpet machine from Hilliard.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Next up is our out-of-state student travel request.
We have two this month, the Ultimate DECA Power Trip Conference in Austin, Texas in November, and then the DECA ICDC in Anaheim, California in April. So both of those recommend for approval as presented.
Any questions on the out-of-state travel request? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, at this point, I need a motion to conduct a closed executive session, including any record or vote at the next scheduled meeting pursuant to statutes contained in chapter 610.021 RSMO.